Hi, I'm Mike Rowe, and every time I visit this great state, I learn something new about the people of Oklahoma.
Well, here we are at the Sun Cattle Company. I do believe this is the proprietor, and you would be his son.
Yes, sir.
And that would make you who?
Ruby.
Ruby. And Jack. Pleasure to meet you.
Sir.
Matt.
Yes, sir.
I love your place.
Thank you.
How long you had the place?
February 1st, so just a few months.
Really?
Yep.
So how did that happen?
Well, and a big part of my education in high school was in vocational agriculture, the FFA, and so
Yeah.
I'm first generation in agriculture. I wanted it bad enough to make it happen. I wasn't born into it.
I'm amazed by it. I mean, I've done a fair amount of stuff with the FFA. Like, how many people just become a farmer one day that weren't raised by farmers? Like, that almost never happens. And it almost never happens in restaurants. Like, the restaurant business is it's a thing.
I mean, I had to start a restaurant to be able. It's kind of getting ahead of myself, but to have the least amount of cattle and still turn a profit, you've got to sell it to yourself. You've got to sell it. You've got to take it all the way.
Yeah.
So I like the idea that I'm not selling my beef on the open market. I can sell it in my town
Yeah.
to my people. There's a lot of pride in it for me.
Why is it important that people know where their food comes from?
I would say 100 years ago, people did know. We've gotten kind of removed from a lot of things, and agriculture is definitely one of them. If you drive around Oklahoma, there's a lot of cattle. The only state that has more cattle is Texas. But people here don't realize that the beef you're eating often doesn't even come from here. And there's nothing wrong with that. I mean, there has to be systems in place to feed the masses.
Sure.
But I'd like to offer at least one lowly hamburger you can eat, but we help you understand you're eating something that came from here. It was raised here proudly and respectfully.
Authentic.
That's right.
The idea that people don't know where their food comes from but should seems similar to the idea that people should know where their energy comes from but don't.
Well, Oklahoma is clearly rich with oil and gas. Often the same land that produces a crop or produces grass to feed cattle also has oil in the ground, and that's a resource our state has. And when I go feed cows, I pass a pumper on the road every day. The parallels of needing to raise beef responsibly in a way that's good for all, I think oil and gas has the same responsibilities. And I think Oklahomans and Oklahoma works hard at that. We use oil and gas resources no different than they use agriculture resources.
The miracle that the lights come on when you flick the switch, right? Or the poop goes away when you flush the toilet. How'd that happen, right? I mean, it's pretty miraculous.
It took something to get that resource to us. It took something to make that gas pump out of the gas pump. Cattle, crops, oil, gas are natural resources.
An appreciation.
Yeah. And be respectful of the resource.
You know what I like about your dad? He's got big ideas, but he also keeps things small. We're just talking about hamburgers, right? Like a hamburger that comes just down the road and then winds up here, local.